Hello everyone, and welcome back to our series of videos on cell division. Well, we've seen that mitosis is important, right, for repair, for growth, for asexual reproduction, and we've seen that mitosis is part of the cell cycle. Now, in the next two videos, we're actually going to finally dive into the stages of mitosis to see what happens at each stage. However, before that, we need to first clear up some chromosome basics. What is the structure of chromosomes? What are chromosomes? Because that will really help us to understand what happens during mitosis a bit more. Alright, so let's get going. Alright, so in this video, we're going to look at what is a chromosome, what is a chromatid, and what is a centromere. Alright, so the chromosome basics. And you can find this information on these textbook pages. So let's do a quick recap. What is mitosis? Well, it's a nuclear division, right? It's a division of the nucleus, where a parent nucleus divides to form two genetically identical daughter nuclei with the same number of chromosomes. Okay, so here it is in cartoon form. Here's our parent cell, and for this example, we'll use a parent cell which has a nucleus containing 4 chromosomes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we remember that before the parent cell divides, it needs to grow. Right, so it goes through interphase, right? It grows, builds new protoplasm, and it replicates its DNA. It replicates its chromosomes. And as a result, it will look something like this. So what we have here now is the same cell, but now notice that the chromosomes have replicated. So they're no longer this shape, now they are X shape. And we'll look at why in just a while. And finally, after the chromosomes have replicated, then the parent cell can undergo mitosis and divide into 2 daughter cells. And these 2 daughter cells are genetically identical because they also contain 4 chromosomes each. So basically each of these X-shaped chromosomes have split right into half to produce your 2 genetically identical daughter cells. So up to now, you've heard me use the words chromosomes, DNA, and genes kind of interchangeably. But I need to highlight that there are important differences between these terms, and they need to be used very carefully. So let me help you clarify what is the difference between chromosomes, DNA, and genes. Alright, so in the chapter on cells, we learned before that cells contain a nucleus, and the nucleus contains chromatin threads, right? Strands of chromatin. Right? So it's a nucleus with chromatin strands. Now, if we look closely at these strands, they're actually made up of 2 things. They're made up of DNA and protein. Okay? So if we look closely at the chromatin, it's actually made up of DNA wrapped around protein molecules. Alright, so there is a difference between chromatin and DNA. Chromatin equals DNA plus protein. Right? DNA just refers to this very long molecule, which we'll see in a while. It contains genetic information. It contains genes. Alright, here's another diagram to help us to understand the difference between chromosomes, DNA, and genes. And we're going to go from the smallest level to the bigger structures. Right, so at the smallest level, here is our DNA molecule. It's a very long molecule. And segments of this DNA molecule are called genes. Alright, so a particular segment here that helps to determine or to control a particular trait, for example, maybe hair color. So that means this length of DNA here is a gene that controls hair color. Then this is the hair color gene. So a segment of DNA that controls or determines a particular characteristic is called a gene. Now we've seen that DNA wrapped around proteins is called chromatin. So over here, this is chromatin. Right? This is our DNA that's wrapped around the proteins to form chromatin. And finally, only during cell division, the chromatin threads will then condense very, very tightly together to form the visible structures called chromosomes. Right? So it's only during cell division that chromatin threads condense to form chromosomes. In a normal cell that's not undergoing cell division, you will only see chromatin threads. Okay, so just take a pause at this diagram, take a look at it, and try to get your head around it. Right? So The chromosomes are kind of like the largest structures. Then if you kind of uncoil a chromosome, you'll see chromatin. Then if you look even closer, you'll find that chromatin is made out of DNA wrapped around proteins. And then if you look at segments of DNA, you'll find that DNA can even be divided into segments called genes, which control different traits. Alright, so just now we looked at this diagram, right? The parent cell with 4 chromosomes, 2, 3, 4, and then the DNA replicates, and then the chromosomes become this X shape. So it's important for me to point out here that after DNA replication, right, chromosomes will appear as a pair of sister chromatids. Right, here's another diagram to show you what I'm talking about. So here is the unreplicated chromosome. Now notice the unreplicated chromosome, right, it has a region in the center called the centromere. We'll see what this is for in the next video. Okay, but it's this very special region called a centromere. Now after the unreplicated chromosome replicates itself, then in the replicated chromosome we have a pair of sister chromatids. So this here is one sister chromatid, right? And then this here is another sister chromatid, right? So we have a pair of sister chromatids. And importantly, these sister chromatids are identical to one another. In terms of their DNA, in terms of the genes that they contain, they're identical because basically this one replicated to form 2. And finally, these pair of sister chromatids are attached at the centromere. So they are now very closely attached here, and that's what forms this X-shaped appearance. Okay, so I hope that this video has helped you to learn the difference between what is a chromosome, a sister chromatid, and a centromere. Now, if you're still confused, you can look at the diagram again or look for other videos online which might help to explain the same thing. Now, in the next video, we're going to take a closer look at the stages of mitosis. In particular, we're going to be taking a closer look at what happens during this phase here, where mitosis, where there are 4 different phases. So I'm really excited about this, and I'll see you in the next video.